So I did a video yesterday. Should I tell him I'm a virgin? And I want to read a couple of comments. I'm sorry, but that sounds stupid. Way to tell a man exactly how to lie to you. You just go ahead and give him the cheat code so he can lie to you most efficiently instead of letting him show you who he is without your interference. Okay. And then another one. I would personally not ask men those questions at all because many of them will tell you what they think you want to hear, not their honest truth. You're just giving them a playbook to manipulate you by. I know you're not about teaching someone you like. I know you're all about teaching someone you like to have a manual for you, but I've experienced and seen too many women experience loss of abuse this way. I would assess his character and sort out the obvious bad ones, move slow, and then ask that kind of man, and then ask that kind of thing once I had a more firm grasp on a man's integrity, which he still could be wearing a mask for a long time regardless. So I want to talk about whether or not you're giving that man that playbook if you ask him questions. And guess what? Y'all not going to like my response. Well, welcome to Heal the New Sex, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Samantha. I am a licensed therapist, and I don't provide pseudoscience advice, a relationship coach. Listen, I'm going to address this. This is going to be the last time I address this. I've done too much therapy with women that are married or dating who did not ask questions. You asking a man a question is not giving him the cheat code on how to play you. That's a woman that has issue with fear. And I saw a lot of fear in my comments. Over here, we're dating logically from our frontal lobe. And just because a man answers a question correctly doesn't mean we give him access to our heart and to our body. In that video, because I'm getting ready to unpack this, right? If you think that giving a man a cheat code, right, by asking him a hard questions, then you've misunderstood your power. Bishop R.C. Blake said, and I love it, he said, kings can only answer the questions of queens. And my purpose of telling you to ask that man questions is because it's going to knock him off his square and his rocker. Because many men aren't used to beautiful women asking them questions. They're used to the things that these two ladies, and it's with love and respect, suggested. They're used to women just observing. They're used to women just going with the flow. They're used to women being passive and not assertive. And over here, I'm teaching you how to center yourself and take control of your dating life. We're not just going with the flow. Should you observe a man? You absolutely can. But just like when you go on an interview and you answer the questions, are they observing you? They are. And sometimes they still don't choose you. Why? Because you didn't give the right answer, or you could have nailed the interview, but something about you made them say, she's not the right candidate for this position. So let me restate what I said in the original video. I said, if a man is comfortable with asking your sexual history, if he's comfortable asking you how many men you've had sex with, then you should be comfortable asking him, how does he plan to honor you? Just because you ask a question doesn't mean you're going to fall head over heels. Doesn't mean you're going to get in a relationship with him. Doesn't mean you're going to have sex with him. Doesn't mean you're going to get married to him. It's asking a question. We're having a conversation. And the issue is, men are real comfortable with asking you very personal questions, and they feel entitled to a response. In the same way they feel entitled to a response, how come you don't feel entitled to a response? How come you don't feel comfortable in asking questions? And we're going to talk about that later. Have you ever lied to get sex? Have you ever asked a woman to terminate a pregnancy because you weren't ready? That's what I asked, okay? Listen. I asked these questions, or I told you to ask these questions, because listen, if we're having a conversation about sex, we should be able to have an adult conversation about sex. The reason why I'm encouraging a 23-year-old woman to ask these questions, because one, she's never been put up on game. She may not have met the liar, the cheater, that man that you have. So she should show up in a more confident and assertive way. Don't you wish you asked more questions? I've done therapy with many women. Oh, he did this, he did this. Have you ever talked to him about that? Well, no. Because many of us were taught to be sugar and spice and everything nice. My cousin yesterday called me difficult. I said, and? Because you don't want to be seen as difficult, because many of us were taught to perform. Many of us have taught to be fearful, and we show up that way in our dating. Okay? This is not, those questions are not instruction. I'm not saying that by asking these questions, you're teaching him how to show up. You're giving him the cheat code in the game. No, it's infiltration. The more the man talks, the more you get information on who he is. The Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. How are you going to know that man's heart just by watching? No, there's sometimes you need to ask a question. Even if you see him do something, you say, okay, wait a minute, hold up. I saw this. So can you explain that to me? Because many women, you see the red flags and you don't address them. Okay? So let me say this. A man who lies for sex does not need coaching. He already has practice. Before he met you, he already planned how he was going to get you out your drawers. A man who lies to cheat has already done it. A man who's a liar is going to lie. Okay? If your safety strategy is don't ask so he can't lie, that's not wisdom, that's avoidance. And we already talked about that as relates to your attachment issue. Silence does not protect you, information does. Keep the man talking so you can hear what he has to say, so you can see the contradiction. But a healthy man will show up and he's going to want to know how he can please you, how he can serve you. He's going to want to know your favorite flower. He's going to want to know how you like your coffee. He wants to know what your favorite food is, your allergies, what makes you smile. He wants to know those things, not because he's going to play you or has a desire to play you, but he wants to know those things because he loves you, cares about you, and respects you. And it's your obligation to teach him how to treat you. He may have been with, healthy men have been with other women too. But if you're not those women, he has to come and he has to learn you. And if you're not asking questions, it doesn't even allow you to learn him. And I'm not saying, right? I'm not saying, and I've always said that a woman should roll out her trust and roll out her vulnerability to a man. I've always said that a woman should what? Date from here. In the membership, there's a video. Teach that man? No. How to date that man without giving him your heart. And see, sometimes when I get these comments, except for the one that said, I know you teach that you should teach a man, so she's been here for a while. Because I did that video last year. But sometimes when I get these comments, I know you're new and you haven't been here for a while. But I want you to know, as a clinician, I've seen too many women be devastated because they didn't speak up. They didn't advocate for themselves. And now they're in marriages and they're figuring out, Cynthia, they're asking me, Cynthia, what do I do? Because he doesn't show up this way, but he never showed up that way. And you observed him and you didn't want to give him the cheat code because you were fearful. You're avoidant. You don't, like Tony Gaskins says, speak truth to power. You teach a man how to treat you by what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to tolerate. You teach him. If a man is now, let me say this. See, them other ladies will tell you, well, if he asking you for some sex, you need to ask him for some money. Are y'all over there saying, no, don't do that. No, that's prostitution. That's sex work. No, but you want to come over here and tell me, don't tell that's a cheat code. No, it's not a cheat code, because just because the man answer a question right don't mean you give him your heart and your body. Listen, this right here, I want you to understand. The purpose of the question isn't the answer. You're not listening to his words. You're observing. Does he get defensive? Which one of the Heal Squad members said, and he got defensive. Absolutely. Because he was just there to play you. Does he laugh it off? Does he minimize? Does he show discomfort? Does he flip it back on you? Why you just can't answer the question? That's what you're looking for. And even if he gives you the perfect answer, you still have to observe his body. Because is he giving you the answer, but he's not looking at you? He's lying. He's lying. You should be watching his nonverbal cues as he's answering the question. High quality men respect directness. Men who are not of high quality, unhealthy men don't respect directness. That's why many men talk about, she nagged too much. You just be nagging every time you nagging. Why? Because he doesn't like directness and he doesn't like accountability. But a high quality man, a healthy man wants a woman to keep him accountable. Predatory men resent scrutiny. The question isn't a cheat code, it's a stress test. You trying to watch and see if he squirms. How come this man get uncomfortable? He real comfortable asking me a question, but then when I ask him a question, he get real shifty in the feet and shifty in the eyes. He can't look me directly in my eyes. Well, Smithy, he looked me directly in my eyes, but did you hold eye contact or did you shift? I want you to know that often women are socialized to be interrogated, but we are not socialized to interrogate. You're not socialized to ask him questions. You just go with the flow because you want to be chosen. Over here, we believe in mutual selection. So he doesn't just get to choose us. We are making a logical decision with our frontal lobe, whether this man is a healthy partner for us. Do our values align? We've watched his character. We're not dating from fear. Women are asked, what's your body count? Are you pure? Are you wifey material? But when a woman asks, have you ever manipulated a woman sexually? Have you ever forced a woman to end a pregnancy? I bet you've never asked a man that. I bet you've never had that deep level of conversation. How many times have you gone to the clinic and your STD test came back positive? Yeah, you can take a test today and it's clear, but have you ever had an experience? Don't lay down with a man that you have not asked intentional questions. And matter of fact, if this man doesn't intend on giving you his last name, now will a man play you? He will, and I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. But I want to be sure we're not dating from fear over here. We're not being fearful. We're not moving out of fear. We don't believe we're giving a man a cheat code. Everything has a manual for how you treat it. And if you don't respect how the manual tells you to treat it, then guess what happens? It breaks down on you. That's where accountability comes in. You can't hold a man accountable for how he treats you if you've never taught him your expectations. Then you're wondering why he violates your boundaries because you've never articulated to him what's your expectations. And that's why a lot of men, right, get upset when they offer a coffee date and a woman says, I don't want that. How dare she? Why? Because of the socialization that you're supposed to get what you can get and don't pitch a fit. But I'm trying to help you and teach you, especially our young women, what to accept and also how you should show up. If that man's a king, he ain't gonna have no issue with you answering any question that you have. He's going to be eager to teach you everything that he knows. He's going to be eager to show you his heart. Why? Because he cares about you. And even if it takes him a while, he wants you and he'll be willing to adjust his behavior. Do you see what I'm saying? But you need to ask questions. Stop showing up going with the flow. I want to say this. The fear isn't that he'll lie better. The fear is, what if he lies anyway? And there are men that'll lie. He can lie whether you ask him or not. You can observe him. He can be the perfect gentleman. I watched a video the other day, Tony Gaskins, and there was a woman. He said she did everything right. She was a virgin until she got married, and that man still played her. She said, but he said she divorced him and she moved on. You cannot, let's be clear. If somebody has set their heart to play you, whether that's in a romantic relationship, friendship, or on your job, somebody sets their heart to take advantage of you, that's them. That's not you. And in order to have a healthy relationship, you cannot have fear in the back of your mind as it relates to dating. Is he trying to take advantage of me? And you see that on both sides. Women fear a man taking advantage of them as it relates to sex, or you get married, you have children, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, and then he decides he doesn't want to be with you. And then men on the other side are fearful that a woman will come in his life and they want to take half of his 401k and everything else. So everybody's dating for fear, and everybody wants to give advice based off of fear. But when you ask, you establish that you are passive. Oh, this different type of woman here. She asks questions. You establish that you are aware. You establish that you are paying attention. You establish that you are evaluating him too. That shifts the power and the dynamic. Do you know how many men are used to women just going with the flow? They could do the bare minimum. You're trying to figure out why he breadcrumbs, why he does the bare minimum, why he's inconsistent, because you didn't show up with your standard. I have young girls. I had a 22-year-old girl in group coaching said, Cynthia, like, I told him how I like, he asked me how I like to communicate. I told him, and then he's not doing it. Right. He don't have to, because the other woman before you taught him he don't have to show up that way. But you teach him he has to show up that way for you. Hey, this is what I said. This is not what you're doing. Cut it off. Appreciate it. I told you what I appreciated, and you decided to show up in a different way. The reason why a man will come to you and lie to you and manipulate you and take advantage of you, one, is because his heart is set to do that. But two, other women have allowed it. He's not doing anything to you that he didn't have practice before. But when you ask questions, and I know, I'm not going to say you so difficult. No, I'm not difficult. I'm just not a fool. I ask questions. This is my life too. This is your life too. Michelle told Barack, you're not going to spend our money. You want to go campaign? You need to go find some money. Well, R.C. Blakes told his wife, Lisa, hey, I don't want to get married. You need to go find somewhere else. She said, deuces, and went and found her a baseball player. And he will tell you, I was but a poor preacher. She went and found her a professional baseball player. Tony Gaskins went back out there to sell them drugs. His wife said, deuces. And even before, when Tony Gaskins tried his wife, she said, get out, because you set the standard. And all these men talk about how they were impressed with their wife when she was assertive. But it wasn't, I'm just going to sit back and observe. I'm not going to ask any questions, because I'm going to give him the cheat code. He's going to take advantage. No, he's not. He can't take advantage of you, because asking a question is not a cheat code. Okay? Right? Let me say this to you. I want you to first acknowledge the fear. Because both women said, if I tell him this, it's just going to give him a roadmap. You're not giving him a roadmap, because you're not giving him your heart. You're supposed to guard your heart. Just because he answered a question right doesn't mean you give it to him. Okay? Manipulators always have ways to lie, rationalize, and gaslight. Being unclear doesn't stop that. It just leaves you guessing. People who lie about serious things like cheating don't need your help. They already practice it. He already knows it. But when you ask for clarity, when he asks you a question, you ask a question back. Hey, just so that we can be clear and I can understand. It reveals character. It doesn't give him tools. It saves you emotional energy, because based off of his response, there could be a red flag, there could be a yellow flag, right? And you make the decision to move forward or not. You asking questions doesn't mean relationship, doesn't mean you have sex with this man. It doesn't mean, oh, okay, she thinking like this, so then I need to show up like this. And if you see that he switches his behavior based off of what you say, then you already know what it is. But if you don't ask a question, you don't even set it up to see whether he's going to address his behavior or not. Are you dating a man or a chameleon? Because chameleons jump through hoops. And let's be for real. There are men who don't need a cheat code. There are men who show up and breadcrumb you. And there are women that will still sleep with that man because you're dating from a deficit. I just want him to make me feel good. I just want to. Okay? And when you ask questions, you get clarity. It exposes liars faster. Someone determined to lie to you won't struggle because of your standards. They struggle because they value deception more than respect. If a man has set his heart to deceive you, that's what he's going to do. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? But what you can do is have him ask the question and pay attention. There are going to be more than one red flag. Him lying to you is not going to be the first flag. There's going to be more than one because his behavior and his words are not going to match up. So you don't just believe the words, you verify with his behavior. And any young woman needs to ask questions. The reason why many women married blindly is because they didn't ask enough questions. And questions just aren't about sex. They're about finances. They're about your relationship with your family. Yes, you can observe that, but you also need to ask questions. You don't go in an interview and they just observe you. They ask questions. Hopefully you don't buy a house and you just go and you just look. No, somebody goes in and they inspect the house. The inspection is why you say yes or no. The inspection equal you asking questions to a man. You need to ask the question. Do you observe? Absolutely. But you still ask questions. Okay? Don't just be in a relationship with someone. And if his behavior changes once you agree to be in the relationship, then you know that he's been deceitful. But let me tell you this, a lot of people, both men and women, are dating with their representative. They're not dating with their true and authentic self. And that's why I tell you, don't perform for a relationship. Show up and date selfishly. Date how you want to date. Figure out what it is that you want. Figure out who you are compatible with. Because it's your life and it's about you. So, would you give him the cheat code by asking him the questions I told you to ask in the previous video? No. You're not. It's for you to gather information on him. You're evaluating him the same way he's evaluating you. And the truth is, many men are used to passive women. But a long, healthy relationship is going to require tough and difficult conversations. Not a person getting frustrated and then blowing up. It's not. And as a virgin, as I mentioned in that video, you should ask questions. But I did not say, just because he answered the question in a way that makes you feel good, you have sex with that man. That's not what I said. That's not what I said, okay? And you asking questions demonstrates your boundaries. And it's your job and your responsibility to what? Uphold your boundaries. And when he violates your boundaries, if he should, it's your responsibility to what? In the relationship or in the dating. Can you work with him and maybe he respect it? Yeah, because sometimes we violate people's boundaries unintentionally. But if it's chronic, consistent, or depending on the boundary, you let that go and you move forward. All right? If a man feels coached into lying because you asked him about his integrity, he was never safe to begin with. That's not on you. And there's a lot of women who feel a lot of shame and a lot of guilt because of their dating experiences and a lot of fear. And so they give advice through that, not through a healthy lens, not through like the woman said, oh, I saw a lot of friends go through this, a lot of stuff. If a man desires to cheat, he will. If you don't get nothing else from this message, You can observe a man and not say anything, go with the flow, not say anything, and he still cheat. You can tell a man your standard and he'll still cheat. Why? Because it's what he wants to do. But at least you can walk away saying, I taught him how to treat me. I taught him my expectations. I held my boundaries and my non-negotiables. So I can walk away from this relationship knowing that I did everything I could to show up healthy. We're not dating from a place of fear. All right? Glad to have clarified that. This is Heal the New Sexy. My name is Samithia.